It's Toby from Heavyweight MMA today with Mitch Kelly, the South Dunedin slugger, after his win at Eternal 102. How are you, bro?
Yeah, good man. Feeling good. Good to kind of just, get the body rested and kind of, see what's next now.
Man, how was the show? How was Eternal as a promotion for you?
Eternal was probably the best promotion I've competed on, eh? Like, the professionalism that they have there was unreal. You just had to turn up and do the job that you were assigned to do. And yeah, everything was super smooth. It was a great promotion.
And the vibe was pretty good that weekend. UFC 325 on the next morning, so quite a lot of the people watching would have been all pumped and ready for a big weekend at MMA.
Yeah, the vibe was awesome. I was actually staying at the Hilton, which was sick. So like, I was brushing shoulders every day with the guys that were competing the next day, which felt amazing. Like it was a build up like no other, especially being on the local scene promotion and having that step there. It was like super motivating to be around it.
Yeah, man, you had and Cam Rouston and Lawrence Lloyd did really well in the show.
Yeah, and had the boys there, and like especially going through camp with those boys. The influence those guys have on the team and the way that they lead by example and the way that they train is there's no guys I've been around that train as hard as those guys in and out of the gym as well. Like, they're quite influential people to be around.
Awesome, bro. I forgot. I forgot about Dan as well. Dan did well. He lost, but he still did well at the same time, right?
Yeah, and Dan's, he's the leader of the pack, him and Izzy, the two veterans coming out of the gym. And it's always just good to be in camp and be around guys like Dan because like, he might not have got the result, but he's done what he's needed to do in the sport to be recognized like how he should be.
Yeah, bro. So man, I was at the show, watching live, watched your fight. Good to see you. Fought against Joshua OBrian. Had a nice, gritty fight. Good sort of fight to get in your early days, right? To get that one where you have to push yourself through and earn the win. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck is like, I thought things were going to go a lot differently in there that night, eh? I'm actually still quite, I wouldn't say disappointed, but I feel like I didn't showcase what I had been training for that fight. I felt like I made it harder than what it should have been, and I felt like I let Josh in the fight quite a lot, and yeah, just a lot of things to take away from that fight, eh? Which is awesome as a fighter.
Yeah, bro. I was watching you and like I saw the guys in your corner, the CKB lads, and I think I don't know if they read it as a CKB gym, but your style is quite different than the CKB guys. How long have you been training with those guys?
Yeah, I've been back and forth there for the last, I'd say, like 4 years. But I've been under Brogan Anderson for the last 6 years. So that's probably why my style is like how it is. Heavy wrestling base kind of style. Like, I like to kind of, I wouldn't say I like to make the fight gritty, but I like to kind of break my opponent down and wear him down. Like if you'd seen my last fight, I think that was a great judgment on how I like to fight. Breaking people down a little bit better than what I did against Josh. I think I tried to force a lot of things against Josh, and that's probably why I made it so grindy. Fuck, I didn't mean to make it like that, but yeah, I just I like the Khabib style of fighting. It's it suits me well. I really enjoy that style.
Yeah, that's what kind of makes it a bit different, like a bit more grappling based. A lot of the CKB guys, you can really pick their stand up from the first round, starting out on the outside, hand up,
Yeah,
breaking the person down, lots of feints and that sort of thing. You're a bit more
heavy
of a
fight.
walk forward fighter, right? In that fight, anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and that's what I like to do. Like I have adapted the long guard style of the CKB style, but fuck, like I said, in that fight, I kind of threw it all out the window and just kind of relied on what I knew best, which is not what I had been training for throughout camp. But I don't know, sometimes your natural instinct just takes off, and it did that night. And yeah, it's like I said, it's like it's a great fight to go back to the drawing board to and get better on the next. So like I was really really stoked with that, just to kind of because a lot of my fights, if you've seen, they kind of go one way, and I like to take control pretty early. And for lucky for me, that it's gone, pretty well until that fight. And, it was good for someone like Josh to really test my grappling and, scramble well. So
No, it was a good fight, man, and that's what led me to wanting to have a chat with you, man. I like to talk to up and comers. I'm a big fan of the CKB boys, so thought I'd get you on here for a chat, bro. And on that, man, like tell us or walk me through your start in training and what brought you to the sport.
So look, I was a bit lost, like basically in life with what I wanted to do. Like I played rugby at quite a high level throughout my whole life, and kind of lost the passion for it, and thought that my training ethic kind of needed something to lead me into like an individual sport. I didn't know what it was until I bumped into Brogan when he was training down in Dunedin, and like watching him in the gym was basically, kind of who I wanted to be like. Seeing an individual athlete that just had this work ethic like no other. And he just, he led by example, and he was just like, I don't know, he was just a phenomenal athlete and a person. And, to kind of see that in person and, coming from like a small town in Dunedin from where I come from, it's like there's not a lot of talent like that. So, seeing someone and, kind of just wanting to be like them was which led me to the sport. So,
And where did you start training straight away? You started training in Dunedin, right? In grappling
yeah, started
mostly, or?
training down in Dunedin at a gym called Hammerhead, which is quite a well-known gym down in Dunedin, and that's where Brogan was kind of coaching. But he was also, he was fighting himself, so he was also training up at CKB. He'd been going back and forth from America and stuff like that. So, when he wasn't there, there was a few guys who were training there that were also really decent, like Case of Murdoch. He was training down there a lot. He was basically kind of my main training partner coming into MMA, which was good and bad because, like, he is probably the best athlete that I've trained with, pound for pound, like. And he's, yeah, like just getting beaten up from him every day. You do learn things, and it might not seem it at the time. But yeah, having guys like that around was, yeah, there was definitely a future in the sport if you kept turning up to training with those guys.
Yeah, man, I've been following him and talked to him a couple of times as well. Looking forward to seeing him get a shot in like something like Contender or Road to UFC or something. It'd be good to see him try and have a go at the big leagues.
Yeah, and training with him and being around him, he's definitely suited in that role. Like, and he always was as well. Like, we went over to IMF Worlds together, and he fought 5 times in 5 days, made weight 5 times in 5 days, and took on 5 different guys from 5 different countries, and like, seeing that in person and being around that was like, I feel like that was the hardest style of tournament you could fight in MMA, which, seeing him do that, seeing him win that, he's definitely destined for great things. And him coming from like a small place from Dunedin, it's really, putting us on the map with the MMA scene. So, it's quite cool.
Yeah, man. And so are you actually full-time training now, or are you working a job as well?
I work a job as like I work as a residential youth worker at the moment. So I work with troubled youth down in Dunedin. I've done that since I've started my MMA career. I do that part time. But now coming up to where we are now, like this has been a long time coming. Going 2-0 as a pro now, things will probably start to kind of shorten a little bit for the working world, and hopefully I've picked up a few sponsors on the way. So probably for this next camp or maybe the camp after, we'll see what happens. I do have like a super flexible job, which I'm super grateful for. Not a lot of fighters kind of find that job without being, a PT and being versatile in that way. But yeah, for the time being, not in camp, will work a little bit. But for the foreseeable future, especially if things are going the way that they're going now, we'll probably have to, cut that off a little bit.
Yeah, man. And working with the youth, man, I always feel like exercise and martial arts in particular are good for troubled sort of youth, man. Have you been pushing people in that direction sometimes?
Been trying to, but unfortunately, just the youth that we work with at the moment, because we work with a lot of disabilities and stuff like that, and so maybe could use it in the wrong direction.
Hmm.
But we there is youth in Dunedin that can thrive off that, but just the particular ones that we look after could maybe use it in the wrong way. So definitely like try to guide them in the direction of finding a passion. But yeah, they're just some of the youth that we take on are just a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. And sometimes it can be an outlet as well, right? Like it can take away that feeling of having to unleash your energy on someone else, you know? But anyway.
Yeah, and I just wish they kind of, seen the light in it because, martial arts does change lives. Like,
Mm.
like finding that passion and learning the art of martial arts is like it's something that can definitely change people for the better.
Yeah, man. And what makes you want to be a professional MMA fighter? Like it's a pretty shit career to be honest. Like it's
It's fucking
super brutal.
terrible.
Like you push your body to the extreme, push your mentality to the extreme.
Yeah.
Usually for most guys don't really make enough money to really justify doing it. And then you end up with some broken dreams or whatever. Like it's a tough path,
100%.
man. It's a tough path.
I honestly ask myself that every single day in camp. I'm kind of wondering why the fuck I do this. But then, moments like, fighting and getting your hand raised and weirdly just soothes all of that feeling over. And I don't know, like how I've always kind of thought about it is, like, when I have kids, when it comes time to do all that, I kind of want them to go to school and be proud of their dad and, kind of just to tell all their friends that my dad was a bit of a badass back in the day. So, you know, just doing it for my family, really. Like it's like when it gets hard and times get tough and financial states get low, like at the end of the day, the family's always going to be there. And if you've got a good support base behind you, like fuck, you just do it for them, eh? Like and you really do as well. Like my mum's a big supporter of this journey, so. And she's had it tough when she was younger, and she's raised three boys basically on her own. So I just kind of want to do it for her and push hard for my family. So yeah, I think a lot of other fighters are like that as well. Like they're just doing it for the people that support them because like you said, like it is a fucking shit career. There's not a lot of good things that come from it. The pay's not well, especially around in the regional scene, especially when you're coming up as a pro fighter. And the funny thing is, like everyone around you thinks that you do get paid well and you do make a lot of money off it, but it looks good in the photos and everything looks good when it comes to fight night, but that's just the 1% that everyone really sees.
Yeah. And it's a one-off payment, man. One-off for every fight. You can't fight so many times, bro. It's a difficult prize fight is a difficult job unless you got some good support behind you, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that one-off payment's paying for fucking fuck all, really. So,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But yeah, I mean, in a traditional term, it's not good. But in terms of doing something that you have to grind through and forging your soul and all that, man, there's
yeah,
nothing, no greater sort of achievement, I think, in some ways, very, very
yeah, I think
difficult.
the hand-to-hand combat, I think it's just like, there's no balls, there's no rackets, it's just you against some other guy with fucking a full camp of training with a lot of people behind you. It's kind of, it's a modern day gladiator kind of thing, eh? So
Yeah.
it's sick, man. And you do get a lot of support from it, especially coming from Dunedin. I've picked up a lot of sponsors in the last few training camps. So, it's cool having people behind me.
And if you're a dedicated full time too, bro, I remember Cam saying once that, he wakes up in the morning, chucks on his flip-flops and cruises in to chat with his mates all day. Like in that way it can be good, right? If you don't have to work and you can get to that point and actually just enjoy the process as well,
Yep.
enjoy that time with the boys, enjoy pushing your body to the max, can be a
Yeah.
pretty fruitful endeavor in some ways, yeah.
Which is fucking sick. Like, you find yourself majority of the time around the boys in the gym, soaking up the environment, soaking up the lifestyle. Like, I think getting to that point is, that's the peak of the sport, really. Like, you get to be around the boys, you get to train 3 times a day. In camp it's a little bit harder, but off camp, like it's, fucking, you live in your dream, really. So you can't actually really complain. So Yeah, hopefully I get to that level where I can chuck on my flip flops and roll into the gym and fucking and do that. But I think I'm a few more wins away, and hopefully get on the same train as Cam.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. And CKB, man, has quite a range of personalities and people there, man. Anything you can highlight from there? Any fun sort of stories or insights? Who's the hardest
Fuck.
worker? Who's the biggest trash talker, etc.? Any troublemakers
Uh,
there?
Fuck, the gym's like a fucking like a sober nightclub, bro. Like fucking the amount of personalities there, the amount of lads you train with, like fucking preparing for a fight, honestly, the best place to ever be. Like, I trained over in Bangtao, which was like kind of similar over in Thailand, but like the caliber of people and the caliber of athletes in the gym is like it's actually fucking mind blowing, eh? It's the sickest place to be around. And like when it comes to fighting and it comes to fight night, like a lot of people get nerves and a lot of people ask how you do it, but like when you surround yourself with the people every day that are better than you, it does make the fight easy. But in saying that, who talks the most shit? Fuck, like everyone's quite low key when it comes to it. But fuck, who would talk the most shit? I would find probably. Fuck. Like, Dan, I wouldn't say Dan talks shit, but I think Dan's the funniest. Like, Dan's the funniest to be around. Like, especially like when everyone's in camp, you just look at Dan and Dan looks like he's just always having fun. Like, it's how he portrays really. Like, he's just fucking, he's in there and, that's the lifestyle that he's bred to do. So, like, when the days get tough, you look at Dan and you're like, fuck, like, he's always bringing the spirits up. But no, probably another big shit talk is Beer. Beer, he likes to like fucking, he likes to definitely fucking spin the bottle a little bit. But like all the boys do talk their shit in their own way, but they're fucking hilarious, eh? Like it's a fucking like I said, like fucking, you fucking don't need alcohol to have fun in that room for sure. Everyone's on their own bars and everyone's fucking, you really have to experience it to
And who,
kind of.
and who brings the heat the most in sparring? What like who do you go up against? And you're like, here we go, you know?
Aaron Towell for sure. And and being the flyweight, like every time I'm having a round with Aaron, I'm just, not try I'm trying to work on nothing else but defense.
Yeah.
So fucking he spars how he fights, which is awesome. He's a total weapon, but when it comes to the training room, he doesn't mess around. And another guy that is turns it on at training is Lawrence. I was doing quite a bit of work with Lawrence before his fight, leading up to Sydney. Doing our hard sessions and stuff like that. And Lawrence is, he's destined for great things. Like his professionalism in the gym, out of the gym is awesome. And like, seeing him get the results at the Road to UFC final kind of wasn't surprising. Especially the way he trains. Like, he's just probably the biggest dog in the gym. Him and Cam are the guys that really lead by example with the training ethic. So
Yeah.
yeah, sparring with Lawrence is like sparring with a middleweight. So he cracks hard.
Nice. Lawrence and Cam were saying they were pushing each other along for the fight, so it's a good thing that they're together.
Yeah.
Man, so you mentioned then about Road to UFC. You're interested in, I heard you say you're interested in like the Dana White Contender Series when you're ready in a year or so.
Yep.
Is that the main sort of goal?
So yeah, I feel like I just, it's the sport where I've just probably got to keep racking up a few more wins. Like, every win kind of leads you in some sort of direction. So you can, like I'll never plan that far ahead until, maybe another 3 wins down the track. But to get to that point, I've got to keep my record, I've got to keep it zero. I feel like, I've got to keep racking up the wins and I can't, it's a cutthroat sport. I can't really afford a loss because guys are so good these days that like you got to go 5-0, you've got to go 6-0 to kind of put yourself up in those rankings to make those promotions and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm looking for another 3 to 4 fights before the end of the year. Like, I'm looking to stay really busy. I've fought 4 times in the last 10 months. So, you know, looking to crack on for another 3 or 4. And then, you know, if everything does go to plan and we go to 5-0, 6-0 before the end of the year, I want to kind of, you know, call for something or wait for an opportunity. But yeah, I'll just let the guys at the gym kind of control that. But you know, if everything's going right, then, you know, I'd love my shot. And yeah, I feel like I've just got so much more to prove out there as well. So, like, you know, every performance is going to kind of push me towards that. So, you know, I kind of don't slack off after I win a fight. It's kind of like build on that and you know, try to build on that last performance and just get better, just be better every day. So
Yeah,
really looking forward.
nice, man. Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to your success. And thanks for your time, bro. Nice to have a
Thank
chat.
you.
And yeah, we'll have a chat after or before after one of your next fights.
Yeah, bro. Looking forward to it. We'll get that next win, and then we'll go from there.
Cool. All right, bro. Thanks for your
All
time,
right.
mate. Cheers.
Cheers, brother. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.